Hello and welcome to another Starcraft 2 co-op video. Today we'll be taking a look at the top 10 changes in my gameplay in these past 5 years. This idea was inspired by Hamid Rafi, who posted this comment in my celebrating 5 years of Starcraft 2 co-op soloing video. If you have an idea for a video, post it in the comments below. Without further ado, let's get to the list in no particular order. The first big change was that I didn't use rapid fire until 2022 or 23. I don't remember exactly. In the past, I used to play spider mines manually, E-click repeatedly. So that 400 APM that sometimes showed up in the replay was actually done without holding down a key. And if you're wondering how to do this, here's a quick tutorial. Go to StarCraft 2, your folder, accounts, your account number, hotkeys, and then the .sc2 hotkeys file. Right-click it and open with Notepad. Type every letter on the keyboard like you see here. So next to target choose, same as the left mouse button. Now you can just hold down the key on the keyboard instead of manually clicking. The second change is that I used to be a huge fan of these weaker prestiges. I was in the F2 club until I was forced to adapt by more challenging mutations. In anything below B+4, you can pretty much use any prestige and still have some success. But once Void Rifts, Heroes from the Storm, or JD Avenger show up, you need more firepower and survivability. Now, I don't use these prestiges as much as I did before. Speaking of F2, the third change is that I stopped using F2 so much. I started relying on hit squads for multitask mutations, even with commanders that have huge armies like Stetman and Zagara. Physical size isn't really a factor in computer gaming, but I guess being able to reach control and zero with just my left hand is an advantage when it comes to control groups. The fourth change is that I started hotkeying individual brutalists against Void Rifts. If you look at my old runs, you can see that I only had 3 Brutas on one hotkey, and then I had to manually click them to attack individual Void Rifts. Now I put them on different hotkeys for easy access to Rifts. I like to have them on numbers 2, 5, and 8 because it's easy to remember. Those who play Mahjong will understand why. It makes things easier and smoother when I audibly say the hotkey numbers to keep track of what's going on in such a hectic battle. The next change is that I sometimes use AI choice to intentionally choose difficult enemy comps. Before, I just wanted to win, so I often fought against the weak 4 to increase my odds of a victory. Now, I sometimes challenge myself by choosing mid to difficult comps. I actually avoid choosing the weak 4 unless the mutation is really difficult. The sixth change is combat unit attack speed. Before, I always chose the mastery that improved the hero unit. Now, I sometimes use combat unit attack speed depending on the mutation. For Zeratul, I use combat unit attack speed when I face rifts because it helps the early game, and also helps against props if you're doing like mass manufacturing. For Alarak, Wrathwalkers are much stronger with an extra 15% attack speed. It's essentially a free upgrade from the start of the game, since upgrading weapons often increases damage by about 10%. For Nova, I use combat unit attack speed when I rely on liberators, such as going against Heroes or Avenger. Speaking of attack speed, I no longer use the Haka attack speed because it is irrelevant after the first few minutes of the game, and even then, it's not that impactful because a lot of the damage to rifts is done by jumping. It helps, but gene mutation is gonna be much better in the long run for the combat units. Speaking of combat units, I used to dislike Ascendants and Ravagers because they often died before getting enough stacks or essence. Now, I still dislike them, but I'm getting better at keeping them alive and using them. I'm currently practicing using Vipers and Ravagers together. I generally dislike doing this because they occupy the same hotkey, so it's very confusing for me to use both of them. I'm trying to fix that. The ninth change is that in the past, I felt that I always had to expand because I need the resources. Now, I analyze the situation more closely and adjust my play to a one-base economy because sometimes it's easier to defend one base. Note that this doesn't apply to Scythe of Amon because I've been one-basing there for ages. The 10th change is that I started using Zagara's bio-launchers a lot more. In tough mutations, these are her best unit because they deal tons of AoE after just paying for them once. Banes and Scourge disappear after fighting, but these launchers stay to dish out more damage. They used to be awkward to use. Well, they still are, but I've gotten better at positioning and controlling them. Anyways, these are the top 10 changes, but I thought of 2 more, so I'm just gonna add them. Nobody's gonna sue me for that, right? Right? The 11th change is that I hardly ever got armor upgrades in the past. Kerrigan, Raynor, and Tychus were exceptions. Now I get them against certain enemies, particularly ones that attack quickly but deal little damage per hit. And the last change is that I don't record my replays anymore. I used to record my replays at 2x speed after completing runs. I didn't want to have to sit through the entire game once again, so I thought 2x was reasonable. Some people still do that now, but for many viewers, it's not a great viewing experience. When I recorded runs for myself, I didn't really care about this. I just wanted a record of my completion. People could just manually adjust the speed in YouTube settings, right? I guess, but it's cumbersome to change. Also, replays sometimes desync, and if a replay desyncs, I might have to redo a run from the beginning. Now, I just record while I play. You can see my first-person view in real time, which happens to also show that I haven't changed the game speed, which some people do, by the way. You can also see reaction times as well. Unfortunately, the beginning is often cut because I don't want to start all the way from minute 0 every time I mess up, which is sometimes a lot. So, if you want to see my build order from the beginning, you should hop on when I stream, which is about 3 times a week. And speaking of streaming, I also do that now. It feels a bit different being watched while playing, but in general, I don't think my gameplay is affected too much. Anyways, please stop by when you can and say hello in the chat box. That's it for this video. Longtime viewers, what other changes have you noticed over the years? Comment them down below. Thanks to all the members who are supporting me. If you would like to join, check out the link in the description. And while you're here, why don't you check out the video that inspired this video in the first place? See you there!